Hey, everybody, we are live. We are here with another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. And I say this every week, but the weeks go fast. I hope you're making the best of your weeks.
No kidding. I know
Everybody.
It's Thursday already. It feels like we were just here a week ago.
We may or may not have been.
It could be. We're not quite sure.
Yeah.
So how are you? How's your
I'm
week
good.
going?
I'm good. I'm just chomping at the bit to get this van home. For those of you who do not know out there, I've had a dream of being in a van, eventually in a van life, but that's
not down by the river.
But yeah, no, it's hard to like wait and be patient on something that I've been dreaming about for 10 years. It's like at next Tuesday. So by next Thursday, I should have some stories. That's for sure.
Okay. So tell the people, give some insight. Cause I think having these dreams and seeing them come to fruition is such a great lesson for so many people. Like follow those dreams, right?
It is. And also patience pays off big time. And I have gotten this lesson over and over and over and over and over that patience has just ends up paying off big time in life, in business, in personal relationships, in health, and definitely in dreams. So, I think a lot of us can be out here just having these ideas that we want for ourselves and never actually step into that or keep them at a distance enough. Because I mean, what if we step into a dream and it doesn't work out? Because that's quite possible too. What if I step into this and I hate driving it? I mean, I've already gone down and driven it. It's 4-hour drive from here in a normal speed vehicle. So to get home is going to be like an entire day. But yeah, I mean, could I not like it? That's possible. But I think that, with the fact that the weeks go so quickly, as we are noticing every single week here, the days go by quickly. We're already headed in halfway through June. We're finishing out the second quarter of 2024. Like there's a lot of things. And if we're not out there making dreams come true, like really, what are we doing?
Well, and how will you know you don't like it until you step into it? This is part of life and experiences, right?
I've had this vision for over 10 years. I mean, I've always wanted a VW bus, but ever since I could remember, like probably in late high school years, I definitely had it on my radar. And so yeah, it's been a lot of years in the making, and just being able to like take the plunge and then also be out on the open road. So my biggest concern right now is figuring out the vanity plate.
VW doc.
Oh my gosh. There's so many. I mean, there's so many that are already taken too. So it's just fun. So yeah, it's definitely, I mean, still being in this office, I'm in a 10,000 square foot office building, and my office is inside of this. And this was a 25-year dream even before I was a chiropractor. But it was an at nighttime dream too. And it was just this recurring thing that would go on and on and on and on and on. And to the point that I had it so recurring that I could draw it out. And it's really fascinating to be here now, because now my dreams are now that I'm in the building, like a certain part of the building, like there's this part that I could draw out that is not currently in existence. Like there's not that part of the building. It's sort of to the west of here on top of the other building it's like the two buildings are connected by a hallway. And I can now draw that out. It's recurred so much, and it's really, really fascinating at night. So yeah, patience has paid off wildly in my life. And so I'm being very patient to wait for, what have I got? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So Tuesday morning, I'm going to get on the road at 6 a.m. Hold on, my dog has a bone.
I was going to say, it sounds like a dog on a bone.
It does, doesn't it? Lewis, let's not, Baba. Let's not, honey.
Well, going back to the title, what I titled this, and I titled this, do you have a community that supports you? And I think that ties into exactly what you're saying. So even though this has been your dream, so many people don't follow their dreams. Or like you're saying, like, it's very vivid when you have something and you want it and you can see it that vividly and you want to go for that. It can be very easy if you don't have a supportive community for people to want to squash your dreams, right? I mean, it's not likely in your life, but it's likely in people's lives that people, the people around you would be like, that's a silly dream. Don't waste your money. That's dumb. And how many of you out there haven't either followed your dream, gone and got your VW bus like Dr. Erica's going to get, or even didn't step into a healthy lifestyle because your spouse or your kids were giving you so much flack that you're like, it's just too difficult. I'm not making 2 meals. And so you decide to succumb to what others think you should be, or the space that they want to keep you in because it makes them more comfortable.
Right. I think as soon as we start to make the changes and the shifts in our lives, those that are used to us being a certain way, they want us to continue to be that certain way. So, gosh,
I know it's terrible.
Over there. Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah. So and apply to all things in life, right? I mean, even, okay, so when I went to purchase this building, which tomorrow marks 6 years since I closed on it, which 6 years in the grand scheme of things feels like a long time, but it goes so quickly and the time's going to pass anyway. So I remember telling one of my really close friends, probably my best friend of multiple years. And, I said, I'm going to do this thing. And I got, I got approved for, or the contract rate. Like we have a contract signed that this is going to go through. And, it's things like, oh my gosh, that's such a big building. Like, how are you going to manage that whole thing? Or, oh my gosh, don't you want to just stay in your space? Or, oh my gosh, like, like, why would you do something like that? And it's a freaking awesome question. Why would I do something like that? It's really legitimate to ask somebody that. And just to make sure that, you are thinking things through. I mean, even when I get tattoos done, I think about them for 2 years. And if 2 years, I'm still thinking about them and still happy with my decision on it, then it's like, okay, so this van situation has been in the process for 10 years. I've always looked. Interesting thing, when I got on the road on Friday, what I realized is Facebook did a time hop back to exactly 1 year ago. And the new electric VW bus was just released. And it's funny because the time hop was like, look what you posted a year ago. And it happens to be on the same exact day. So I'm like, I'm just taking all of these things as God winks. That's like, yeah, just do it. And, I decided, okay, so 4.5 hours down to see this bus and 4.5 hours back without an overnight. For some people would be like, that's crazy. Me too. Yeah, me too. Except for,
it's not crazy. I just require the overnight.
Well, but here's the thing. So I'm going to probably sit anyway on Friday. I'm going to sit in front of my computer. I'm going to sit on social media. I'm going to sit and watch a movie. I'm going to do something sitting. So I just reframed it in my brain that if I'm going to be sitting, because I would have gone to a coffee shop, I would have gotten a workout in, but I got to walk in. I did all that stuff that day anyway. But it's like, I'm going to be sitting more than likely anyway today because I got a lot of stuff that I could get done on the computer. So I'm like, let me just reframe that. I'm going to hunt down a dream. I'm freaking stoked to do it. And I probably would have been sitting anyway. So, and I have a comfortable vehicle to travel, and as you do too. And it's like, I'm just going to sit anyway. So I'll just reframe it. And I felt amazing. Instead of being like, I got to drive up north, 4 hours up north, like, even that mindset of like, I got to drive 4 hours is very different than I'm probably going to sit anyway. So may as well sit and go somewhere and chase down a dream. And that mindset shift made me feel, number one, still stiff, but freaking amazing. By the time I got there, I wasn't drained of energy, all that. So it was like, we can do so much with our minds. It's amazing. So,
and you built it up to such an adventure. Which that's really what it was how how many of you out there actually embrace an adventure
Mm-hmm.
and even talk yourself out of it? You know, having a community around you. What about your own community in your head? How
Mm-hmm.
many things do you talk yourself out of, right?
Well, I was dating a guy over the last 6 months, and he travels the globe and teaches, and he will finish practice, get on a plane and go, and then teach all weekend, get on a plane and come back to Japan, to China, to Europe, to all these places. But jet lag is not part of his existence. So guess what? He doesn't succumb to jet lag like whatsoever. I mean, eventually the day will catch up with him, like when he gets back or whatever. But I got to tell you, if you just can start to switch your mindset, we don't really have to succumb to some of those ideas. Like I remember one time I was putting my garage door down. It was at my parents' house, and I think it must have been that their power was out, and I smashed all four on each finger, like it got stuck in the accordion. Uh-huh. Tips, which are so sensitive, right? And I'm like, I am ouch. And I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. I'm going to let my mindset work with the fact that that did not actually happen. Because if I let it go there, and I actually healed really well from it.
Yeah.
So it's really powerful what the mind can do. But that was an example. And then when I ran a marathon, 26.2 miles, instead of thinking for 26.2 miles, how painful this 26.2 miles are, I dedicated each mile to somebody or something. And for that mile, I thought about the energy that I'm putting out right now, I'm dedicating to my mom, my dad, chiropractic, just people that can't walk anymore too. And I would look down, and I had it all written out. In fact, I still have it here at the office, and I would just dedicate that mile to that. And guess how I healed so quickly instead of being in the mindset of 26.2 miles and how much misery that is. It's really, really powerful what we can do. So yeah, I'm chasing down a dream. This coming Tuesday is going to be leave at 6 a.m., get down there, drive home slowly because VW buses move slow. I think it's supposed to be super hot, and it's a air cooled engine. So like if the air is 95 degrees, like how much cooling capacity is there going to be out in the air? So I don't really know what's going to come of it, but also just the adventure of it, truly.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, when you talk about, just that mindset, I think we've talked about this before, like Bruce Lipton and the power of the mind, the power of thoughts. And of course, this is why we just love the messages that we can send to our nervous system, and why, even though through chiropractic, we're making corrections to the spine, corrections to the nervous system, enhancing life inside your body. But if you continue to leave here and think all the negative things and watch all the negative things and submerge yourself into things that just don't serve you, you literally change the metabolic pathway. But if you take like Dr. Erica, what a great example of mindset, that it's just the flipped mindset. And her body was able to heal from those things because she was able to put these good thoughts into her body. And it's a completely different biochemical process. It's a cascade of healing energy versus a cascade of killing energy, really, when you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to ask you, because I see this regularly on my table, is, okay, so someone's face down on the table and they're doing their process of getting adjusted with us. But sometimes people say, I'm just no good at this. Or like a thoracic adjustment to relax into it. I'm just no good at this. Sorry, I'm like holding back, or sorry, I was holding, or whatever they're saying. And they say, I'm just no good at this. So I can tell you, if you just let the adjustment come in and say to yourself, thank you, or bless you, or yes, or something affirmative rather than something, I'm just not good at relaxing, it's going to have ripple effects out. And I've actually stopped patients in the middle, and I'm like, we don't worry about how good you are at getting adjusted. And I'm definitely going to stop you from judging yourself as good at getting adjusted or not good at getting adjusted, because that is going against, especially if it's a negative self-talk of some sort, which isn't appropriate, but I get why people do that. I'm not good at relaxing because I've been in charge all day of 30 children in a classroom. Like, it is a little bit challenging, but if we can just say, thank you, bless my body, let these hands help me, like, the curious passing of hands, like you've mentioned before. But it's like, if we can just say thank you or have a gratitude on the inside for whatever that adjustment is doing, rather than putting the kibosh and saying, I'm no good at getting adjusted, it's going to have completely different effects on the body. I'm sure you see that too. What do you do in those situations?
Well, so same thing. I stop people. I make them take a breath. Because the other thing too is, as you know, you have to stop their minds. So people come in from the craziness of the day. And I think I've told you guys about this particular patient I have, and she whips the door open and she brings all the chaos with her, she's like, that was a crazy day. And I'm like, it's time to relax. And it's time, like, literally you feel the chaos being brought in. And I don't think people are aware that kind of energy that they just have billowed up around them. So especially people like her, but then just in general, even on a smaller scale, if people are like, they're like, I can never remember this, right? I do side posture, right? So like, I can never remember this. And I just respond and I'll say, you're fine. You don't have to remember. That's why you're here. I'm like, you're not supposed to remember. And then I'll make a joke and I'll go, if I forget, we're in trouble. So
that's what I always say too. I'm like, if I forget, we're definitely in trouble. If you forget, no problem. That's
right. But the biggest thing that I always try to do is get people to just relax and breathe, because, and then I'll say to them, listen, I'm the only person in your day that's going to tell you to lay down, shut up, and relax. And I will tell them, I want you to sit here and breathe, and I want you to think happy thoughts, because no one else is going to order you to do that. And this is for your own good. So I really try to get that little message into them that says, you got to stop. You've got to really take care of yourself. And I feel like, if we can give them 3 to 5 minutes of intentional mindfulness, intentional quiet, intentional care for themselves, like that, to me is, I've done my job, right? And not that, you and I both know, like, the adjustment is the creme de la creme, but just getting people to stop and quiet their mind for a minute is so highly valuable.
I know. And whoever's out there, I'm not sure, but we both have laser healing tools in our offices. And one of the things about having the laser is people have to lay or sit for 3 to 5 to 10 minutes for it. And I'm like, I always preface it by, what a blessing to just be able to sit, listen to the music. Like, yes, you could get on your phone. People don't even want to sit without being on their phone. They don't even want to wait to get adjusted. And it's just like, can we just have a moment for peace of mind for the brain and a little bit of mindfulness? There's a really great life coach here in the building, and she calls mindfulness, like, what is your mind full of? Mindfulness to me means being mindful, like being inside the present moment. But I think it's also a really great kind of spin on the words of, like, what is your mind full of? And are you even paying attention to what it is full of, or where it's at in your day, or what's going on there? Because it matters. It really matters. And we're not perfect. We're not even, Dr. Paula and I are probably not even at 80%, like, we're just like everybody else out there trying to do everything that we can inside of our days to push our lives forward, make progress of some sort. But, it's like, what are we filling our days with? Dayfulness, mindfulness. What's your mindful of? What's your day full of? Just something to think about. I thought it was a great spin on words.
And do you allow yourself a moment to just disconnect? I was actually just telling somebody about this. Now I can't remember who I was saying this to, about you and me, I don't know, whatever the grammar is. You and I, when we come on, and how many times things have gone sideways, and then we're like, should we do this? And I'm like, yes, let's just do it, because that's the whole thing. Like I don't want anybody looking at me thinking that what we say, or looking at us and thinking that what we're saying is too difficult to achieve or too far out of reach, because we want to come here and show you our imperfections. I mean, you guys, I missed 2 weeks because I was sick as a freaking dog, and I'm still keep hitting the mute button because it's lingering. Like, we're not perfect. We're not above anything that we're talking about, but we practice it. We practice it each and every day so that we can continue to make progress in life and in health, in our mindset, in our physical bodies. I went to the gym yesterday for the first time in 3 weeks. And honestly, it wasn't horrible. I was like, what I was fearful of was not, and I'm sore today, okay, but I'm not horribly sore. I kind of wish I was more sore. I wish I'd have pushed myself a little harder. But what I was fearful of by going to the gym yesterday was not having enough energy, feeling exhausted when I came out of there, because the fatigue that I felt over the 2 weeks was a mind. How can I say that without saying the 4-letter word?
It was a mind game. It was a mind game. It really
was.
It
was a mind game. Yeah. There's another 4-letter word. But that was the whole thing. It was like, I was really afraid of wiping myself out by being there. And it didn't. So I went anyway. I did my cardio. I did an hour of strength training. And I felt pretty good. I was a little tired, but like I said, overall, and I had some running around to do. So I was pretty spent by the time I got home that night. But I say that to say that, a lot of people, I've had people tell me, I don't want to do weights because I don't like being sore. I don't care. Do that and do it anyway. Right. If you don't challenge your body, you'll never grow beyond whatever place that you're already in. So the fear of whatever it is, it's got to, you have to have the courage to step through and beyond it. Mm-hmm. I feel my overall body right now, I feel weak. I feel like I've lost muscle mass. Like I like personally, physically, I am not where I want to be. And that's because of 3 weeks that got sliced out of my life. So, because I had 5 days of travel and then I was sick. So the reason I say that is because most people have a lifetime. So I don't want to sit here and say, I get it, but I kind of get it. Like, you just have to get up and start and take one step and one more step and one more step. It is not going to be perfect. So that's why I say start today, then start again tomorrow. Yep. That's it, right?
Yeah, there's a really great phrase out there, or I don't know where it comes from, but definitely on so many memes, which is, when you're tired, learn to rest, not quit. So, so much at the gym. And I've been really shifting my workouts to, still sticking with what I'm doing, but I started to add a lot more just weight training and lower body for one. So I did that yesterday and I really pushed it. And, I've been in the fitness industry for a long time, so I know what to do, but I can see now, like, it'd be great to get a trainer on board as well. And also, I slept, because I took those muscles and freaking pushed them beyond, like, my sleep last night was amazing.
Nice.
Because it was like I shifted some stagnant, like, stress, like underlying low grade stress, and pushed it all the way out of my body or something. And I just was tired, and I went to sleep and stayed asleep. I stayed in one position. It was like, not that that's the best way to sleep, because quite frankly, when I did finally move at 4 a.m. after being in that one position for 6 hours, I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, you get sore, right?
Then I went back to sleep. So I was just gonna kind of tile this in though really quick to principle number 22, which is where
Mhm.
we're at. We're in the 33 principles, which our chiropractic profession was based on back in 1927, I think, what the 33 principles was published. And like we've talked about, they don't change. They're not killing people. They're just principles that
They
are
haven't
still
been recalled.
haven't been recalled, haven't been replaced. So principle number
We
22 is
don't mandate that everyone follows them, but we would like you to. But we know they
the other
work.
part is it's just like
We
it's
could
like
mandate
taking
them, but we know they work, so we don't
it's
have to.
it's literally like taking the universe and just putting it in words. I
Yeah,
mean,
right?
natural law in words. So okay, so number 22 says the amount of innate intelligence. There is 100% of innate intelligence in every living thing, the requisite amount proportional to its organization, which is basically saying that, as we've talked about every week, it's like this innate intelligence moves through our information superhighway, which is why Dr. Paula and I are chiropractors. We like to be able to help people maximize that. But even as you're sick, like your body was dealing with something else, but innate intelligence was there on the job 100%. When we have surgeries or we have limbs removed or we have organs removed or replaced joints and all that, innate is still there 100% as proportional to the organization that's necessary. So let's just say I had a patient and oh my gosh, this morning, new patient, and I was like, you have had quite a few surgeries. Wow. So then one knee was replaced, the other knee was replaced. There's been a colon resection, there's been colostomy and removal and resection and just all this stuff. And it's like innate, and we talked so deeply about this last week. Innate will do everything it can to get to tomorrow. It's the body's will to live, and that innate intelligence and the organization, it being there 100%, no matter what we're doing with our body, is fierce and strong. And if it wasn't so fierce and strong, I would really, this would be a different planet. We would have a
Really
different existence. But it's profound that this woman could bring me a laundry list. Actually, is it right here? It is right here. A laundry list of medical procedures, 1995 through 2023.
Oh my gosh.
You'll be able to see the list.
Oh, there you go. Wow, that's amazing.
And not that you need to know what, but yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a whole thing. And I got like 3 pages of medical work and like details and all that. And grateful. I love when people come in so thorough. It really means that even though she's been through all of this, she's like freaking dedicated to her life and living the best she can. She's got to go through procedures. She just, not that she would say Nate's on board, but we are always in that. Nate is on the job.
Well, and I look at I have a couple of thoughts about that. So the first thing is having all of those surgeries. I find it sad, and I don't know her history, but most of the people that I've encountered have not been given any alternative.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the model that they are put through, and that just keeps going and going and going. I was at our event last night, and there was a young girl, 13 years old, and she had her bathing suit on because we have water games for the kids there. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, that girl has a severe scoliosis. And I was literally like salivating because I'm like, I want to get my hands on this girl. Because Dr. Erica, you and I both know that scoliosis, chiropractic is the only thing that can correct and reverse scoliosis, period. Not putting a rod in the spine, not fusing it, nothing. That does not correct anything. The body is growing in that way because it is out of order. It is out of balance. So when we put the body back into balance, and I have a 100% track record with scoliosis patients under 18 because it's so critical to get them in that growth phase. So I happened to then run into her grandfather, and I didn't know it was her grandfather. And he said, "Oh, that's my granddaughter." And And before I could say anything, he said, she's got a really severe scoliosis. I go, oh, I know. I go, I am sitting here wondering how I'm going to get that kid into my office, and who do you need to talk to make sure she gets into my office and gets under chiropractic care. And he said, oh, she's going in for surgery in July. 13 years old. She's not even done growing. But see, here's the thought process, is that if she continues to grow, it's going to get worse and it'll crush her organs. But again, if we get her in and we correct subluxation or interference to how her body is growing, what is it? So as the twig grows,
bends, so grows the tree. As the twig bends, so grows the tree.
So if the twig goes like this, so's the tree. So let's get her in and let's get it corrected. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, because I tried to tell him this, like, you cannot put a rod into a spine that young and expect something great. She will have long-term ramifications.
Absolutely.
So now when we talk about surgeries, right? So that kind of a thing, when we talk about Innate being on board and the body's ability to survive, yes, the body's going to be incredible in its ability to thrive, to want to thrive and survive. It is 100% to the level, right? But what we're doing is anytime there's a surgery, your overall level of function goes like this.
Yep.
So that doesn't mean Innate stays here. That means that every time you remove an organ, every time you have a surgery or anything like that, Innate goes like this. It drops down with the procedure.
In proportion to its organization.
So yes, it's 100%, but it's 100% of what you're giving it.
Yes.
So I think that's where a lot of people don't have the connection. It's like, well, if I have my tonsils out, or if I have my appendix out, or my gallbladder, then my body will still have this power to heal. It'll have the power to heal, but it's going to have less power to heal you. So before you succumb to any surgery, and you and I also both have had plenty of patients who they've done all the things, and we get it. And so, and then they go that route. Like I'm not here to shame anybody for having surgery or anything like that. I just want you to be aware that that should be your 100% last resort. And you should be given the information of all the things you can do before you end up in that place.
Agree. So. Hi, Dr. Jen. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Okay. So speaking of scoliosis, so that 13-year-old that you were talking about. So I have two patients in the practice over the years. One of them has been with me for 20 years. The other one, and he is now, I want to say he's like 75 or 78. And I'm just going to show you. So when he brought me his x-rays initially, it was like, how are you even walking around? But it's because Innate will deal with whatever you give it, and Innate will be at 100%. And the body will be compromised. So if we can have a nice aligned body. So this is his spine.
Yeah.
So this is from the front.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So, and he's had surgery.
Well, yes. So he is now 78 and he had the surgery 4 years ago. And so these normally, so this is where can I put that? There we go. You can see the nuts and bolts in there now. It was only because his body went so far and for so long that it gave down at the bottom. But when it did, it obviously gave him intense pain where he could no longer function. But the body, he's been under care with me for 20 years, but that means he came in his upper 50s, which is well beyond when any of this could have been fixed. And so he's had a lifetime of discomfort and now a surgery. And then, he actually has to go now in for another surgery. But anyway, it's pretty wild what the body can work with. But I have another one that unfortunately she was about 15. She was trained for the Olympics as a swimmer, and she was 15, equally as contorted spine. And she did not stay under care, which is really unfortunate, but people just have their different ideas in different ways. And she's gone on to live, healthy life. She's married. She's a nutritionist now. She has 2 kids and they're doing great. But it's also like, what could have been done if we would have gotten her under care at 5 years old, at 6 years old, at 7 years old, instead of even at 15, or even this girl that you're talking about at 13. Because if her scoliosis is that severe now, yes, rods are an option. Terrible life beyond that, for sure. Sometimes absolutely necessary, because they're just quality of life is, you can't walk around like that. You can, but just, I just think about that 13-year-old. She's probably has her period or soon. That will be affected. The nerves of the entire pelvis will be affected. Just lots of different things.
lungs.
Digestion, leg function, all of that, because all those nerves are being impinged. All we're seeing on this x-ray is just the bones. But what's going on in the nerves, the tissues, the organs, the cells, the muscles, the glands, the circulation, all of it is just so compromised, because innate intelligence working at 100% with a compromised structure is just that, compromised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I think if we can prolong, so like you're saying, like he came in, he's 70 years old, he's finally getting surgery, and then he has to have another surgery. That's really the long and short of it too, is how can we prolong maybe sometimes the inevitable and keep you as well balanced as possible. And again, it's, if we go beyond structure and we just talk about function, this is about the nervous system's ability to heal you as a human. So when you're getting adjusted, and then let's say you do have to go in for surgery, now your body is so much better equipped for that healing place, right? So let's say you've gone through the medical mill, it's surgery. Okay, so this is innate. Here's all your surgeries, right? Surgery, innate, and it just keeps going like this. But if you're getting chiropractic along the way, you might have a little bit of a bump in the innate. And that's really what we want to make your body as
resilient.
As resilient, thank you, as resilient as possible, because shit is going to happen, right? Yeah. So again, like I was just sick for 2 weeks. So let's like manage the resilience. And I missed my adjustment yesterday. So I'm not happy about that. I'm a bad patient. No, I'm not a bad patient. I just missed my adjustment. No negative talk.
Yeah. It's just, if we can do everything we can do every day, we can, to the best of our ability, for whatever we have going. Like so I have this itty bitty teeny tiny puppy. He's actually not a puppy anymore, but he's so little and his bladder is little. And so it's immediately, as soon as we get up, I'm not kidding, I practically land in my shoes and we go right outside, no matter the season. And there's a lot of treacherous seasons, but it's one of the things that I have become so grateful for, because I get right outside in the fresh air first thing in the morning. We walk 10 to 20 minutes at minimum, and I get going. So then it's like, okay, look at all I've done already. It doesn't mean I'm not going to drink coffee, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to be perfect with my diet and throughout the day. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means like I'm starting out on a good foot, pun intended. And I'm getting outside because of that little guy. And now, he's been with me for 1.5 years now. This is 1.5 years. And I'm sorry, with a little one, like, you just don't ever not do it.
Yeah.
Like there's no options, like life's booby trapped like that. But also, just like Dr. Paula being sick the last couple of weeks, it's your life's still booby trapped to show up. So then you take even better care of a body that's already being taken really good care of. Just take even better care, and you just show up and you start and you just give it everything you got every single day. And we get better because of that. And the will to get to the next day is so strong in our innate intelligence that you're going to have, it's a major upgrade. Lucky for you, knock on wood, because I don't want to get lucky like that, but you got a major upgrade, sister, because you have a powerful system anyway.
Well, I always say, you know, I have a bulletproof immune system. So when something takes me down like that, it's a tough one. But also going back to your point earlier that you said, allowing yourself to rest and not quit. And so that was really, I laid on the couch, I binged watched stuff, I napped, but I also made sure that because I didn't have the energy to move,
Mhm.
and also, again, going back to community, my girlfriend came over and walked my dog for me. Like that was how bad it was. So because I knew I didn't have the energy to move, I was making sure I was drinking all my fluids. I was taking all of my nutrients. I made over a week and a half, I made 3 giant pots of chicken broth that I homemade chicken broth that I just that was such a saving grace because there's so much healing to homemade chicken broth. And I'm not talking about with bouillon and I'm not, you know, like good high quality chicken and chicken feet and getting the collagen and loading it with tons of vegetables. And I knew that even though didn't necessarily feel like I was nourishing my body, I knew I wouldn't be sick forever. But yeah, I still had to be doing as many of the things that I could possibly do.
Yep.
And so, and I was watching like things that made me laugh and, you know, things that brought me joy. So feeding my nervous system from that perspective. So it doesn't always have to come down to having to do all the things every day. But as long as you're doing most of the things all the time,
Mhm.
you know, that's really where your shift is going to be. And then when
Yeah.
you can't, you allow the rest, you
Yep.
know?
Well, one of the things that, you know, because Dr. Paula and I video every day, multiple times a day, just kind of keep up with each other's lives because we're just out here doing our thing. And it's nice to have somebody to relate to. And it's like, you know, I said to her sometime a few days into it, and it's like, is this not so freaking cool that your innate was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to shift gears and we're going to do a fever and we're going to do a coughing and we're going to decrease your energy because we got to put a lot of energy towards this. And, you know, even when we're not feeling good, Innate is on the job. And it's so cool to watch the orchestration of how your body was doing all the things. And you were supplying it with so many building blocks to be able to do that. I mean, if you were out there eating McDonald's and still like drinking like, who knows? I don't even know. Who knows what's out? I can't even wrap my head around some of it. But it's like if you were feeding it something other than anti-inflammatory, life-giving things, it's like it would have taken longer if you were giving it
And taking Advil every day.
I
Or
was going to say, and
or
reducing a fever and doing all that stuff. Like there's definitely a time and place for some of that stuff, but it's also like your body's fevering, so reduce it. But it needs this fever, so reduce it. But it needs this fever, so reduce it. So guess what that just did? Prolonged. Mm-hmm. So if you can sit in the fever, knowing your body's not going to kill itself with whatever temperature it's deciding that it needs to get to, it's miserable. But what the body's doing when it's doing that is relinquishing calcium out of the bones to activate the immune system. And so it's doing all of that so that, and needs to do that. So then if we reduce, it just expands. I don't know. It's just, we're making a mess.
Well, and I want to comment real quick on the, so I did take, what was it? Nighttime flu something. Theraflu. I actually was like, I remembered that my daughter was really sick last year. And I remembered that she bought some Theraflu. And I was like, where is it? Because you guys, there's no drugs in our house. Like it's all tinctures and tonics and herbals and remedies. And so I go dig into the back of the cabinet and I see Theraflu. And Erica had said to me earlier, she was like, you might need to like, just so you can, because I wasn't sleeping.
Just get some sleep. Yeah.
So I take the Theraflu, I mix it with the water, and it was nighttime. It was a nighttime Theraflu. I mix it with the water and I'm like, okay. And I really struggle. Okay. And then I pick the box up and I read all the crap and artificial sweeteners, flavors, colors, phenylalanine, aspartame, sucralose. Like it was a It was a
It's
bomb.
like a dumpster in it. It's like a dumpster, freeze-dried, powdered, packaged with a little tiny bit of active substance in it.
Yeah. And it was so adulterated. And I read it. So there it is. And it's bubbling on the counter. And then I read the thing and I'm like, I'm not putting this in my body. Like, just give me the freaking drug. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
So I go to bed and I'm struggling so bad. And I was so clogged that I felt like I was suffocating. And finally I got up and I was like, I'm going to have to do it. And I went in and I kind of gave it a blessing and I chugged it and I went to sleep. And I was like, so the next morning I told her, I'm like, I can't believe I took that stuff. Like, and not for the drug aspect, but for the chemicals that were in it. It was crazy.
They're trying to make it palatable, but it's like, you know what? In the past, we would have just like picked up some dirt and shoved it in. You know what I mean? That's it. We would have picked up an herb, no matter what it tastes like, and just shove it in and get it done. And who cares what it tastes like? Like, it's for 30. It's for like 30 seconds. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what? A spoonful of sugar.
I know. It's terrible.
Of sugar. And Mary Poppins and her whole thing, I think, started that like, this stuff should taste good and be palatable. Get it in and get it done. Just get it done. So
just to answer Joe's question real quick. So coffee, a little bit of coffee in the morning, lots of tea. I do a lot of herbal teas. I do hickory nut tea, which is amazing because it has a lot of fat in it. Just grind up hickory nuts, throw them in a pot, boil it. So again, just from satiety, if you can't really eat or you don't have hunger. So and then I just drank the broth. So that was pretty much everything and I don't drink much beyond coffee, tea, and water anyway. Yeah. Electrolytes, but again, it's clean and all of that. So yeah.
And here we are.
It is 1:46. So do you want to give us the wrap up for today's?
Yep, I sure will. So the amount of innate intelligence is there's 100% of innate intelligence in every living thing, the requisite amount proportional to its organization. So even
think about that before you have an organ removed.
Yep. And also just think about that as you're going on your nature walks. Like that's also it, there's intelligence out there creating the leaves and giving that all of its expression too. Okay. So then, so the function of innate intelligence is number 23. This will be next week. The function of innate intelligence is to adapt universal forces and matter for use in the body so that all parts of the body will have coordination action coordinated, and it's actually hyphenated. So coordinated action for mutual benefit. So let me read that again. The function of innate intelligence is to adapt universal forces and matter for use in the body so that all parts of the body will have coordinated action for mutual benefit.
Ooh,
I freaking love it.
It's early. Yeah. We're going to dig into that one next week.
Yes. Squeeze all the juice out of that next week.
Oh, yeah. All right. So don't forget, get here next Thursday, 1:00 for Chiropractic is Sexy. We're diving in next week. So thank you guys so much for being here. As always, we love you so much. And we'll see you soon.
Peace.
Bye.